Here's something nobody tells you about money. The difference between people who build real wealth and those who constantly struggle isn't about earning more. I've spent years studying financial success stories from millionaires to everyday people, and what I found changed everything I thought. The wealthy don't have access to secret investment platforms. They're not all crypto geniuses or stock market wizards analyzing quarterly earnings reports every weekend. What they have is something far more valuable and far simpler, a framework, a repeatable system that turns ordinary income into extraordinary wealth. Today, I'm breaking down my money blueprint, a three-pillar approach you can start using today whether you earn minimum wage or six figures. This isn't about extreme frugality, living on rice and beans, or giving up everything you enjoy. It's about strategic allocation that actually works in real life. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why some people effortlessly build wealth while others struggle, and more importantly, what to do about it. Let me ask you something. Have you ever gotten a raise at work and somehow ended up just as broke 6 months later, maybe even more stressed about money? Picture this. You've been grinding at your job, finally get that promotion you've been working toward. Your salary jumps from $50,000 to $60,000. You're excited. You feel like you've made it. So you upgrade your apartment, get rid of that embarrassing old car, and start eating out more often. Fast forward 6 months, you're looking at your bank account wondering where all that extra money went. You're making 20% more, but feeling just as stressed. This is the psychological trap that catches almost everyone. When our income increases, our lifestyle tends to expand right along with it automatically and gradually. Economists call this lifestyle inflation, and it's absolutely brutal because it happens so gradually that you don't even notice it's destroying your future. You start thinking, I make $60,000 now, I can afford a nicer place, or everyone at my level has a car like this, right? These thoughts feel rational in the moment, but they're actually whispers of lifestyle inflation slowly consuming every raise, every bonus, every bit of financial progress you make. This happens because most people don't have a system. They're making financial decisions based on what feels right, on what their peers are doing. The wealthy think differently. They make good decisions automatic before they even get tempted to make bad ones. They create systems that don't rely on willpower. They understand something crucial. Willpower is a finite resource that runs out, but systems keep working even when you don't feel like it. Here's a radical idea that will change everything about how you think about money. The most important bill you'll ever pay is to yourself, not anyone else. This might sound selfish at first, but this single mindset shift is what separates people who build real wealth from those who work endlessly with nothing. Successful wealth builders have mastered something called reverse budgeting, or paying yourself first. They set aside money for their future the moment they get paid. Instead of saving whatever's left over at the end of the month, which is usually nothing, they prioritize their future before paying anything else. The magic number that wealthy individuals target? At least 10 to 15% of every paycheck before they do anything else. Sounds aggressive, but here's why. Let's run a real-world scenario. Imagine you're 25 years old and you start setting aside just $200 per month into investments consistently. You invest this money in a diversified portfolio that grows at a modest 7% annually, which is actually quite conservative compared to historical stock market returns. By the time you're 65 years old and ready to retire, you'll have $525,000. Let that sink in for a moment. Here's the part that blows people's minds. You only personally contributed $96,000 over those 40 years. The rest? That's compound interest working magic. The other $429,000 is your money making money while you sleep, vacation, binge-watch Netflix, or simply live your life automatically. But here's where timing becomes absolutely critical. Let's say you wait to start, telling yourself you'll invest seriously when you're more established or making more money. So instead of starting at 25, you start at 35. You invest the same $200 monthly with the same 7% returns for 30 years. By 65, you'll have around $244,000. Still decent, sure, but you just lost out on $281,000 completely. Those 10 years of delay cost you more than the entire amount you personally contributed over 30 years. Time is the ultimate secret weapon in wealth building. This is why most people waste the most valuable asset they have, waiting for the perfect time that never comes, losing exponential growth forever. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I get it. I need to set aside 10 to 15%. Then what? Do I just stuff it under my mattress? This money has two critical jobs. First, it builds your emergency fund, what I like to call your financial shock absorber that protects you from life's impacts. Think about how a car's suspension works. When you hit a bump, the shock absorbers prevent that impact from rattling your entire vehicle. Same principle here. Life absolutely loves throwing unexpected expenses your way. Your car breaks down, your laptop dies, unexpected medical bills, or your company downsizes. Sound familiar, right? Without a financial cushion, these situations don't just create inconvenience, they create full-blown panic and often lead to high-interest debt that follows you for years. The general rule is to have 3 to 6 months of essential expenses saved up in an easily accessible account, not invested in volatile stocks. Keep it in a high-yield savings account where you can grab it immediately if needed. When you have this safety net, life's curveballs become merely annoying. Once you've got that emergency fund locked in, every additional dollar goes to work in the investment markets. And here's where most people completely overcomplicate things. They think they need to become day traders, studying charts and financial statements, having some insider knowledge, or finding the next Tesla before it explodes. Wrong. The truth? The best investors are often the most boring ones, and that's not an accident. Wealthy individuals overwhelmingly choose something called passive investing. Instead of trying to pick individual stocks or time the market, they put their money into diversified index funds that track entire markets automatically and efficiently. Think of it like this. Instead of betting on whether one specific restaurant will succeed, you're buying a tiny piece of every restaurant in the city. Some will fail, some will do okay, some will thrive, but overall you're betting on the fact that people will keep eating out and economies grow. This approach works because over long periods, markets trend upward. Will there be down years? Absolutely. 2008 was brutal. 2020 saw wild swings. But over 10, 20, 30-year periods, this boring, passive approach has consistently outperformed most professional fund managers who charge massive fees trying to beat the market. Speaking of fees, this is absolutely crucial. A fund charging 2% in annual fees versus one charging 0.1% might not sound significant. But over 30 years, that difference can cost you literally hundreds of thousands of dollars because those fees eat into your compound growth every single year relentlessly. The wealthy obsess over keeping investment costs low because they understand that every dollar paid in fees is a dollar that can't compound and grow. One more critical point. If your employer offers a retirement plan with matching contributions, maxing out that match should be your absolute first priority before anything else. If your company will match up to 5% of your salary and you're only contributing 3%, you're literally leaving free money on the table forever. That's an instant 100% return on your contribution. Show me any other investment that guarantees you double your money immediately. You won't find it. Here's where most people lose the wealth-building game before they even start playing. Your lifestyle expenses need firm boundaries where they will expand infinitely to consume everything. I've seen this happen to people making $30,000 a year, and I've seen it happen to people making $300,000 a year. The framework that actually works: keep your essential living expenses at or below 60 to 70% of your take-home income. This includes rent, transportation, groceries, utilities. Notice what's not on that list: streaming services, gym memberships, dining out, entertainment, shopping, subscription boxes, premium coffee, and all the other things that feel essential. Housing is the single biggest lever most people have, and it's also where the most resistance comes up when trying to make smart financial decisions. In expensive cities like New York, San Francisco, or London, rent alone can easily eat up 40 to 50% of income, making wealth building nearly impossible. This is where hard choices create massive opportunities. Getting a roommate when you're 30 and really want to live alone, choosing a smaller place than affordable, living further from the city center and dealing with a longer commute. These aren't fun decisions, and I'm not going to pretend they are. But let me give you perspective on what these decisions actually mean in real dollars. If you're spending $2,000 monthly on rent when $1,400 works, that $600 difference seems manageable on a monthly basis, right? Just $600. But if you invest that $600 monthly over 20 years at 7% returns, it becomes $312,000. You're not just saving $600 monthly, you're choosing between a nicer apartment or $300,000 later. Transportation is another massive opportunity that most people completely waste. The average new car payment in the United States is now over $700 monthly. That's for an asset that loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. Meanwhile, a reliable used vehicle might cost you $250 to $300 monthly. That $400 to $450 difference invested consistently over a 30-year career could be worth over $500,000, $500,000. That's the real cost of driving a newer car when a reliable used one would work just fine. Most people never calculate this hidden opportunity cost. The wealthy understand delayed gratification at a deep level. They're willing to drive the less impressive car, live in the smaller apartment, skip lifestyle upgrades temporarily. And here's what's interesting. Once that foundation is rock solid, once they have real wealth built up, they can make completely different choices if wanted. But they build first, spend later. Most people do it backwards and wonder why they never get ahead. That's the critical difference right there. Now here's the part that makes this whole system actually sustainable instead of just theoretical. You need explicit permission to enjoy your money without guilt whatsoever. This might be the most important pillar of all, even though it seems counterintuitive. Many financial plans completely fall apart at this stage because of deprivation. People try to save every possible penny, deprive themselves of all enjoyment, white-knuckle their way through life, and then burn out completely after a few months. They end up binging on spending, abandoning their entire system, and going back to square one, often worse off because now they feel like complete failures. The solution? Deliberately allocate 15 to 25% of your income specifically for fun, entertainment, hobbies, travel, and spontaneous purchases that bring you joy daily. This isn't wasteful spending. This is strategic allocation that keeps you mentally healthy and committed to your plan for the long haul without burning out emotionally. When you know you have money designated specifically for enjoyment, you can spend it freely without that nagging guilt that usually comes with every purchase. Want that premium coffee every morning? It comes from your enjoyment budget. Planning a weekend trip with friends? Enjoyment budget. New hobby equipment? Same place exactly. The psychological research here is fascinating and completely backs this up. Studies consistently show that people who build spending flexibility into their financial plans stick longer. It seems counterintuitive, but giving yourself permission to spend money on things you enjoy actually helps you save more over time by preventing burnout binge cycles. Think of it like a diet. The people who try to eat perfectly healthy 100% of the time almost always fail and binge later. The people who plan for treats and build them into their system are the ones who stick with healthy eating for years. Money works the same way. The key is maintaining discipline around the boundary. When this month's enjoyment money is spent, it's spent. You don't borrow from next month's allocation ever. And you absolutely don't touch the money that's supposed to be working for your future. This boundary is sacred and must remain untouchable always. I know what some of you are thinking right now. This sounds great in theory, but I'm barely making it as is. I'm spending 90% already. How am I supposed to save 15% when I can't even save 1%? That's a completely fair question, and I want to be straight with you. This framework is a target to work toward, not a rigid requirement for getting started. If you genuinely cannot save 15% right now, start with whatever you can, even if it's just 3% or 5%. If keeping essentials to 65% seems impossible because you're at 85%, that's okay too. Start where you are and work your way down gradually. The specific numbers matter less than building the habit of intentional allocation and living within defined boundaries. Here's what makes this powerful over time. As your income grows, through raises, promotions, side hustles, or career changes, the system grows with it proportionally. When you get that raise, the dollar amounts in each category increase proportionally, but the percentages stay the same. This prevents lifestyle inflation from consuming everything. This is how you prevent lifestyle inflation from completely consuming your additional income, while still allowing yourself to enjoy the benefits of earning more money over time. If you're saving 10% on a $40,000 salary, you save 10% on a $60,000 salary too. Same percentage, more actual dollars. The difference is that 10% of $60,000 is a lot more actual dollars working for your future than 10% of $40,000. Most wealthy people didn't start out wealthy. They started as regular people, often struggling with the same exact issues you're facing right now with money. What separated them from everyone else wasn't intelligence, luck, or having rich parents. It was discovering a system that worked and following it consistently. The money blueprint I've shared today isn't revolutionary. It's not some hidden knowledge that only the ultra-wealthy have access to. It's actually quite simple. It's basic mathematics combined with behavioral psychology wrapped in consistent execution over long periods of time. That's the whole secret in one sentence right there. The hard part isn't understanding the system. Understanding is actually pretty easy. The hard part is following it consistently when your friends are upgrading their lifestyles, when Instagram is showing you everything you're supposedly missing out on, when that voice in your head says you deserve this for the 10th time this month. When everyone around you is living for today and you're the only one thinking about tomorrow, that's when discipline gets tested most. Wealth building is boring. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's repeating the same smart decisions hundreds of times over many years without instant gratification. It's choosing the unsexy option today so you have genuine freedom and options tomorrow. It's driving past the car dealership even though you could afford it. It's staying in the smaller apartment even though you make enough to upgrade. It's saying no to things you want now for things you'll want more later. But here's what makes it worth it. Real wealth isn't about buying expensive things or flexing on social media. Real wealth is having options and freedom. It's being able to walk away from a job you hate. It's being able to help family members when they need it without financial stress. It's being able to take time off when you need it without financial panic. It's going to sleep knowing unexpected expenses won't derail your life. Start wherever you are right now. Use whatever percentages you can manage. Be ruthlessly consistent with those percentages and let compound interest do what it does best. Turn patience and discipline into prosperity. Your future self is watching what you're doing with your money today. Make them proud. Make decisions they'll thank you for. Because 20 or 30 years from now, you'll either be grateful you started today or you'll wish you had. The difference is today's choice right now. The choice is yours. Choose wisely starting today.